silent prayer of thanks for all of the grace, protection, bounty, and guidance that we're receiving from our beloved Lord and his ascended masters and angelic host. Amen, and thank you. Now we have a chart which is called Program Highlights, which tells what we're going to cover today. Jim, do you mind reading that, please?
So most of the program will be covering a set of skills having to do with your ability to do these kinds of things. Picking a name from a list, storm breakup, quelling a flood from a stream, dispersing hail, bringing rain, creating a weather canopy for safety, and making a secure selection. Then the Masters of Light slideshow, followed by quantum gazing with Connie and myself, followed by a program review.
Now we have chart 2, pick a name, light up. Jim is going to describe how to do that.
So there are many times when you have a list of people or services or products that you need to select one from. You might have a list of 3 or 4 or 5 people that could do a particular job for you at home, whether it's lawn maintenance or house cleaning or painting or things like that. That falls into services as well. Or there might be a list of products that you might want. They're all the same type. Let's say it's shampoos. You've got that list. So, and you want to pick the best one. You want to pick the person that is most honest and competent, etc. Or you want to find the people who are doing the service that will do the most quality job and maybe do it at a reasonable price or even the best price. So you'll want to pre-program your mind to say that you want to make the best decision, and you want that decision to become very obvious by when you have the list in front of you and you maybe run your hand down the list or look at each person or company on the list with your eyes and you focus on it. You would like that item, that person, that company to stand out, to light up, maybe in some way to become emphasized as to, oh, this is the one. And I just recently had that happen, and there was a list of about 14 companies, and I went down the list, and I'd already found a company that had, just by using internet search, and I'd called them and I'd talked to them, and they told me how much it would cost and why they were the right people. And then I had this list that I had received of independent contractors, and I went down the list with my eyes and back up the list. And one, about 2/3 of the way down the list, stood out. And when I called them, I learned that, one, they would be much less expensive than the one I'd found previously, but that's not good if they're not competent. But it turns out that they are the company that does most of the service for our water supplier. So I knew they had to be decent. So that's a way to go about doing that.
All right, thank you, Jim. Now we have chart 3, storm dispersal.
Okay, storm dispersal.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about that one?
About a month ago, we were driving along a highway to meet a friend for lunch, and all of a sudden a huge weather front appeared overhead with very black clouds and lots of thunder and lightning. And then we heard on the radio that this was expected to deliver a large load of hail all throughout the northern part of our state. So as Jim was driving the car, I just suddenly started doing decrees and said to the weather front, break up and disperse now, break up and disperse now, move to an unpopulated area on the eastern plains now. And I was imagining the entire storm cell quickly moving out of our area and out to an area where no people or buildings or livestock or pets could be hurt in any way by large hail that might be the size of golf balls to baseballs. Then after that I said, sunlight, sunlight, shine through now. Well, this whole process can take 5 to 10 minutes, which it did. And then after that, as I was decreeing continually, I said, thank you, Weather Davis, thank you. Chart number 4 is quelling a flood. There is a certain stream in our county that I noticed was flooding several months ago, and it was on a high bank. I was standing about 15 feet below the stream as the water came pouring down toward me. So I remembered that many years ago I had seen Satya Sai Baba take the Chitravati River flood that had leapt its banks and had flown all the way up the top of the hill, so that all the devotees had to quickly hitch up their pants and their dresses and their skirts and saris so that their clothing wouldn't get wet. And Sai Baba simply raised his hand like this and said, Chitravati River, back in your banks now. And the river just went quickly flowing down the hill, down, 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 and inside the banks, and never flooded after that. So I thought, well, I can do that. So I said, North Fork Stream, go back into your banks, drop a foot in elevation now, up the hill, back into your banks. Now, go back into your banks. Well, you can also imagine sweeping it with a giant janitor's broom back into the banks, which is what I did. And then I said, thank you, Stream Davis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You always want to be very grateful for those unseen beings that are helping you. Now, chart number 5 is for hail eradication. Now, imagine the storm cell. Imagine capturing the hailstones in a giant net and swinging it with great strength to an unpopulated area many, many miles away and specifying the location. And then also, for example, you can have the Nature Davis take the hail to wherever you want it to be so that it does not create any harm, as we said before, and also you thank them.
Is this a good time to show the news clip?
Yes,
of the hail?
Why don't you show the news clip of hail?
So this is the kind of hail that we often get in Colorado. It's happened 2 or 3 times already this summer, not to us, fortunately, although it was about a half a mile from our house that a lot of roofs and structures got destroyed and car windows got broken down by that kind of hail.
Yes, thank you, Jim. All right, now on chart 6, we are going to talk about bringing rain to
Let's
end
see if
drought.
I get the right chart here.
All right, to end drought or fire. Now, when you need rain in a particular area, you can say, Rain Davis, gather the clouds together to release rain without flooding. And be specific about how much you need and within what time period or window. We need 1/2 inch of rain within 48 hours without flooding. Thank you. Now, you have to keep the decrees energized by doing them 3 or 4 times a day in a strong, loud voice. Then, also, let's say there has been a forest fire, and you ask for the Rain Davis to bring rain to totally squelch the fire, and you can ask them to drench the smoldering embers of the forest fire now without flooding. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because you don't want to have the embers catch on fire again and burn the grasses and all the shrubbery and greenery in the area and start roaring up again and another renewed version of the fire. So just make sure that all the smoldering embers are drenched. Now, chart 7 here. All right. I know someone whose name is Mary. Chart 7, secure selection. Yes. Now, this is a story of a big payoff. She told me that she had been driving across country in her car and stopped to get gas at a casino. There are many casinos in the southwestern United States and also in coastal areas and elsewhere. She decided, since there was a casino right beside the gas station, that she would go inside and try her luck at the slot machines. We don't gamble, so I was very interested in the story from the standpoint that she had a procedure that she said always works for her. She instructed her subconscious mind as to her goal. She wanted a large payoff of several $1,000s, and she said, well, it's very easy. All you have to do is run your hand in front of an object and ask the palm to tingle when it's near the best choice. So she said they had a big bank of slot machines.
A row of them.
Yes, a big row of slot machines with chairs in front of them. And she just put her hand, her open palm, all the way along each one. And she said, now my hand is going to tingle very vigorously when I stand in front of the slot machine that's going to reward me with a big payoff. Well, sure enough, she did that. There was one that just caused her hand to tingle. She played that slot machine and won $26,000 in a very short period of time.
That's not the only time that she did it.
Oh, no, she has done
No, she's done it regularly.
Right, she has, but that was the most recent time. And so she felt it was very worthwhile that she had stopped to get gas, popped into the slot machines, and then collected $26,000 and went on her merry way.
By using her hand to find the machine that was going to pay off.
Right, this is a dowsing technique, so she used her hand as a dowsing instrument. Now, other applications might be that you would like to select a book to read from a library book table, and you just don't know which title you would most enjoy. So you can just run your hand over all the book covers and ask your subconscious to make your hand tingle or even itch when you settle on top of a book that would be the best selection for you in the moment. If you're going to select a bicycle for someone, for example, a grandchild or a child or a neighbor or someone in need of a bicycle, then you can just do the same thing in front of bikes that are for sale or in a newspaper ad that is announcing secondhand bikes for sale that are in excellent condition. All right, now chart number 8. This is creating a protective canopy. Now, last year, Madhusudan Sai came to Colorado to the airport and invited us to come and meet him at the airport. As it so turned out, it started raining ferociously, and we brought a big black golf umbrella to be able to cover all the people in the small plane as they came down the steps and ran into the rainstorm. Well,
at least that was our idea.
That was our intention. But as it turned out, as I was looking at Madhusai, I noticed that he had created a light blue canopy that ran as he was walking down the short set of stairs. He created a canopy overhead that attached to the airplane door opening and ran several yards to the awaiting van that was picking up the passengers.
Did it look like it was a physical canopy?
Well, no, it did the job. It was etheric, but it did the job to protect them from rain. So as it turned out, our umbrella was unnecessary because he protected them all with his mind. But that gave me an idea when, a few months ago, Jim and I were driving along the highway, and suddenly a huge hailstorm began to develop overhead, and I remembered what Madhusai had done. So I said to Jim, to protect our car from hail and all the cars on our side of the highway, I'm going to erect a very, very long canopy that will cover all the cars and trucks, and it's going to go from in front of our car all the way back home so that all the cars behind us will be protected. Well, as we drove along, I noticed that our side of the highway was dry, but the 2 lanes left of us on the other side of the highway,
the divided highway
for oncoming traffic, was starting to receive rain and hail. So then I expanded the size of the canopy so that all the cars on the highway and all 4 lanes would be completely protected and they would not have to suffer any dents or cracked windshields or anything like that. Now, other applications of this are you might be out and about when suddenly it's raining and you need an umbrella. So you can just imagine an umbrella over your head or a canopy, or that you are completely protected. I remember very often, many decades ago, when we would go to Puttaparthi, South India, Sai Baba would be giving a discourse. We would all be sitting in the sand for 8 hours a day, unprotected from the sun, the blistering sun, and also from sudden rain showers. And then Sai Baba would just simply lift his hand and twirl his hand, and all of a sudden there was no more rain on us. But all around us, at the edges of the crowd, there was rain. But we were protected because he had put a big invisible canopy over all the people assembled there. I also recall another time, many years ago, when we were attending a satsang from a visiting teacher in Boulder, Colorado, and there were about 200 of us in the golf club in Boulder, the golf course auditorium where the event was held, when in the middle of this person's talk, there was a huge clattering of hailstones on the roof, and we knew that all the cars in the parking lot, very large parking lot, were perhaps going to be susceptible to hail on the roofs, denting perhaps the cars and also breaking some windshields. So everybody there sat still, no one moved, and we were all imagining spontaneously, without direction, a huge canopy over the parking lot. A few hours later, when the event was over, we went outside wondering what the state of our vehicles would be. There were no dents, no broken windshields, no cracks. Everything was completely protected. So that's the power and the possibility of doing a number of things having to do with weather, with your mind and your will and your intention. Now we're going to see the Masters of Light slideshow, and after that, Jim will do the induction for quantum casing with Jim and myself.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the Masters of Light slideshow once again and are becoming more and more familiar with the Masters. They are often with you before you begin sitting down to watch this video. They're definitely with you while you watch the video, and they may stay with you or revisit you later on as well. They perform very powerful services for you who are watching the videos and your loved ones who you bring into the quantum gazing circle. So let's prepare for quantum gazing now. Place your hands face up on your thighs, on your knees, wherever it's comfortable in your lap, in an upright, receptive position. And now think of 3 or 4 wishes or intentions or prayers that you have for yourself or for loved ones that would improve your life or improve their lives, or if there's something that you think if it went away it would be better for them or for you, that could be a thing that you're thinking of also. But get whatever they are very, very clearly in your minds. While you're gazing, you just need to look with a unfocused gaze into our eyes on the television set or on your computer screen, however it is, and allow your mind to become blank. Allow your mind to become empty. And I know that can be difficult, more so for some than for others, but you're going into a kind of a meditative state. And if you discover yourself thinking, you discover thoughts happening, that's okay. Just go back to empty mind, and you might have to do that a couple times while gazing is going on. Prior to gazing, we always do a 3-phase breathing exercise with our consciousness and our heart center. And when our consciousness reaches our heart center at the end of our out breath, there's a point at which you can actually feel something happen. And sometimes if you're thinking of somebody or focusing on somebody close to you at the same time, they can feel just a little shudder that goes on. They have no idea what happened, but if they're close to you physically, you can actually see that happen. So let's begin right now. Let's all breathe in deeply. Raise your shoulders up towards your ears. Now, big breath out, consciousness down into your heart center in the center of your chest as you out breathe. Notice that feeling in your heart center at the bottom of your breath. Now let's breathe in again deeply, shoulders up towards your ears. Big breath out, consciousness down into your heart center. Breathe in again deeply, shoulders up towards your ears. Breathe out, consciousness down into your heart center. Notice that feeling, that special feeling. And now imagine your consciousness expanding out into the universe and enclosing your idea, enveloping your idea of the quantum field of love, sort of intermingling with it, being enveloped by it and you enveloping it. You feel the warm energy. You are encompassed by and enfolded by the pinkish light. And now you bring yourself back into the room and begin gazing with us.
And we'll time this for 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Now we're going to do the program review. The skills that we said we would teach you were pick a name or light up an item from a list. 2, breaking up a storm. 3, quelling a stream flood to make the floodwaters go back into the stream banks. 4, dispersing hail. 5, how to bring rain. 6, creating a secure selection with the hand tingle. Then we did not do cleansing breath, but I think most of you know how to do that. The Masters of Light slideshow, and then quantum gazing with the two of us. And again, we would like to thank the Lord, the Masters of Light, and the angelic hosts for all of their help today, and in the past as well as in the future. We appreciate your joining us for this program on Playing with Energy, and hope that you thoroughly enjoy yourselves as you practice these new weather-wise skills. Keep it light and joyful, and you'll be much more likely to have tremendous success rather than by furrowing your brow and concentrating and trying to do it perfectly. Just play and have fun, and you will have great results, and you don't need to worry about a thing. We will see you again at just the right time. In the meantime, be well, be masterful, be grateful, and God bless you all. Thank you so much for coming.